Good evening, guys. It is February 5th, Sunday, 10:57 over here on the East Coast. Just got done watching the Super Bowl. Not super excited with the results, but they are what they are. I thought it'd be fitting to talk about exercise in relation to the Super Bowl going on and everything, and it kind of ties into yesterday's vlog that was about diet. So, with that, I like to say that I made a commitment to myself to exercise every day, regardless of how late it is, or how early I can get my exercise done. Some days I get it done earlier, as early as I can, like first thing in the morning, and then other days I have to wait till now, 11 o'clock at night almost, to get my exercise done. But that's just 'cause I had to work till like almost 3 in the morning last night and then be back at work around 10:45 this morning. So I didn't, I wanted to maximize my sleep time so I could get the proper rest in order to be fully functional at work, which I was, and I had a great day at work. But I did want to talk briefly about exercise. I believe that doing anything on a daily basis is better than doing nothing. So I used to do a lot of exercise every single day, like a lot, and I noticed it started wearing on my joints. My muscles could take it because they were stretching and growing, but my joints started to, have issues. So with that, I dialed it back, and I've been able to, safely work out probably around 15 minutes every day. And it's not the most intense or vigorous exercise, but in my eyes, it's some things better than nothing when it comes to exercise. So I stay committed. I'm going to try to make it through this month. Every month I may miss a day or two, but for this month, and to hold myself accountable to myself and to you guys, I'm going to try to work out every single day. And even if that means it's the last thing I do, then it is the last thing I do. But I did want to emphasize that exercise is important, regardless of how much you do. With the more you do, you're going to see the effects on your body, just like I said before, like a bodybuilder. You can tell that they exercise a lot because you can see the results in the way they look. And then you can look at your average person and tell if they spend any time investing in exercise, because you can tell by their body. Sometimes you may be wrong, but a majority of the time your guess is right. But there's so many good benefits to exercise, and the military implements exercise as a part of their daily routine, and there's reasons that they do that. There's a multitude of reasons, like better health, better well-being, improved moods. It's a way to start your day more. You get more activity out of people. Just more focused type of person. But you need to be getting the proper rest as well. So there were several days in the military for myself where I'd have to, you have to make it to formation at 6:30 in the morning, or sometimes a little bit earlier, and start your exercise, and regardless of how much slept you got. So you would always have to, backwards plan to make sure that you got the proper amount of rest, and God forbid you had anything else going on. There was a point in my life where I was a full-time student trying to close out my associate's degree, as well as being a soldier, in the army. And that was one of the most time-consuming, times in my life, where I found myself staying up late some days. And I would try to pick the days I stayed up late to make sure that they didn't coincide with a Monday through Friday, so I could be fully functional at exercise. And I noticed that exercise, at least in the military and when you're starting out, it was one of the things that set you apart. So if you performed better in physical activities, there wasn't too many other factors at that point in time that could really help you promote. So, and it was also good for your well-being. So I was trying to, kill two birds with one stone when I was in the military, and trying to excel on, they have like this 300 score limit, I would always try to meet that, if not excel and surpass it. So there's and a lot of benefits came from it. You get recognized, you look better, you feel better. There's nothing but good that comes from it. But then you have people who know that exercise is good, but they still choose not to do it. So to me, it's a matter of importance to the individual, whether or not they participate in exercise. It's just like deciding to eat healthy. You know that something may not be good for you, but you'll indulge in it because it makes you feel better. I want to point out that exercise can and does make you feel better, just the way food can make you feel better. You just have to get the courage to do it. And you can start small with little, and start your regimen even with 1 minute a day. I mean, if you can't find 1 minute in your day to do exercise, then there's got to be something wrong in your schedule. You show me your schedule of 24 hours, and I can show you a minute where you can do exercise, and probably much more than that. So it just has to do with a matter of importance to you. You need to make physical activity very important for you, especially if you have a physically strenuous job where you're, constantly lifting, pulling, or doing other physical activities. You should always be on the ball with your exercise, even if it's a minimal amount of exercise. Like I said, something is better than nothing. So for myself, my regimen now is I alternate upper body and lower body 7 days a week. Some people may have an issue with working out all 7 days, but like I said, I dialed it back for myself where they're not so strenuous and I can do them every single day. And sometimes I'll time myself and I can get my entire workout done in about 8 minutes if I'm super focused with no distractions, and that's including the exercise itself and stretching. I like to do a little bit of yoga after each one of my exercises because I'm terrible with flexibility, and I know that trying to improve that will only, make things better for me, and it also helps with my recovery. I'm not as sore, and I can still have certain maneuverability if I maintain the stretching as a part. But that was something I learned in the military as well, where you have like a warm-up period, which is kind of brief, and then you do the physical activity for about 45 minutes, and then a cool down, which is also brief, but it included some stretching to make sure that you can avoid injury. So I like to tie an injury into there. If you're not careful about the exercise you're doing, not knowledgeable about the exercise you're doing, you are prone to injury. And you want to be very self-conscious of that because you don't want to overdo it. Although you'll see people in the gym sometimes who are overdoing it, you don't know what their background is with exercise. So you may be quick to judge, but that person could have been, like me in the military for 8 years, so we're used to certain rhythms. Like I would do, like I said, up to 700 push-ups in an individual workout on an upper body day, and my body could handle it at that point in time. But you take the average person, and that might, not be so beneficial to them. They might need a couple days to recuperate from that. Whereas if you're constantly doing it, it's like an Olympic athlete. If they're constantly always practicing and performing, for us, the regular civilian, so to speak, it would be a daunting task to just do their workout. So everything in moderation when it comes to exercise. Start small, and then you can increase every day until you get to a comfortable place that you can commit that time on a daily basis. For me, it's a matter of repetitions and sets. I like to do 4 sets of around 12 repetitions. I find that to be a good number. 10 repetitions or less is more for building muscle, which I'm not necessarily trying to do at the moment. And then 15 reps, 12 to 15 is more for lean. So I chose to do 12 so I can maintain the muscle I have, not necessarily lose it, but also be more on the lean side. So that's why I chose 12. And then 4 sets just because that's what a lot of successful people with, bodies and physiques that I envy do. So I always try to emulate and find mentors of people that I would like to either look like or be like. And that should be a focus for everybody. Always find somebody that you can follow, that you can mimic, and that way, even if your bodies are completely different, you may not look identical to them, but you're gonna be on the right path because what they're doing may be right. So to tie into bringing a little diet into play as well, I think that when it comes to being physically fit and kind of looking the way you want to do, I truly believe that 90% of the battle is the food that you eat, and 10% would be your exercise that you do. I went through this interesting thing while I was, it was towards my last year of being in the military, where you can see how many calories you burn, like your highest metabolic rate for the day. And even if you were to do 2 to 3 hours of rigorous exercise, it's not as much calories as you burn sleeping. So I'll repeat that. Even if you were to do 2 to 3 hours of vigorous exercise, you would still burn more calories sleeping. So what I took away from that is that focus less on the exercise, absolutely do it every day, but focus more on what you eat, and that's going to be the huge battle here. Is you got to balance. It's 90% of what you eat and 10% of what you do, believe it or not. So exercise is very important, but diet is so much more important. So much more important. So those are things to consider for diet and exercise. I do believe they go hand in hand, but obviously diet would be much more, focused, especially if you're trying to, meet certain weights or body fat percentages. So that'll be it for today. I definitely appreciate the subscribers that keep my numbers going up. I believe I'm at 8. Like I said, my goal was 10 for this month, and we're still kind of early in the month, about 5 days into the month, and I'm 2 away from meeting that goal. And I'm really excited about that. And I noticed I'm picking up in views. I'm about to hit 100 views on my channel, which I'm really excited about. So thank you guys for watching. To my loyal subscribers, I thank you guys for watching on a consistent basis. And thank you for the kind comments. I had a old school friend of mine leave me a comment about rice, how many burlap rice sacks could you fit into that diet, and he was, I'm assuming he was completely kidding. Also, a good guideline for eating, I've been told, is what you can fit into the palm of your hands. So if you'll take almost 2 fist size worth of food for each meal, that would be a very good guideline to help you lose weight. They say your fist resemble your stomach. So 2 of your fists would equal the amount of food that your stomach could potentially hold. And then if you eat more than that, you tend to gain weight. You eat less than that, you tend to lose weight. And if you eat that portion, then you'll stay the same. So those are just some tidbits about diet and exercise that I'd like to share with you guys. And let me know what you guys think, what your comments are. I had a friend who I spoke to about the diet. He's north of 300 pounds, but way south of 350. And he told me that he lost 4 pounds over a couple of days. So when you have that much weight, it's obviously much easier to lose the weight. But he told me just trying the intermittent fasting diet to lose the weight has already been a huge success for him. So I did want to share that story with you guys, just so to re-emphasize the importance or the effectiveness of intermittent fasting. And and this person has heart conditions as well, so he's constantly monitored. So obviously he's not going to do anything without the consent of his physician. So I did want to bring that to the attention of you guys as well. So, but he did share that news with me, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. so you guys can see that it truly does. And the only way to show more proof is for you guys to try it yourself and then leave me feedback. But I can only tell you about my experiences and the experience of others that I encounter and mentor along the way. So again, appreciate you guys watching, and look forward to speaking to you guys tomorrow.